Once again, good morning, everyone. So today I am going to show you how can we promote a domain controller to you in your domain. Okay, so you already have the worker environment and you want to add your very first domain controller in your estate. So before I get into that, let us also understand what are all the prerequisites that you need or you have to ensure before you get into the domain controller promotion. Okay. So this in order to have a domain controller, you should have a server operating system first and foremost. Okay. Any one server operating system you should have. Now there are so many server operating systems are there, but in the current market, the Microsoft supports from 2016 only. So Microsoft Windows 2016 or 2019 or 2022 operating system is should be installed in a server. So once you install the server operating system, okay, you have to ensure that computer or the server got properly naming. Okay, it should have the proper name and static IP. It should have static IP address. Okay, and proper IP settings, IP and parameters. Like it should have the proper IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and the DNS. By default, it will take the same server IP address because when you install the Active Directory domain services, AD will also install the DNS along with it because Active Directory and the DNS are both are integrated. Without the DNS, Active Directory will not work. Okay, then you can also add the DNS address also of the same server IP address. DNS address, same IP address you can add actually, same IP of the server. Okay, so now you have the server operating system, you have the IP address, you have the naming, proper naming, you have added the DNS. Okay, and there are sometimes it will also ask you some couple of .NET packages also. .NET to the latest, but by default it will install you when you install the Active Directory or when you install the latest operating system, it will have all the packages. So once you install all these things, then you can go to the server and start installing the Active Directory domain services role. Then you can install ADDS roles. Okay, it's a role. So when you install ADDS, along with the ADDS, DNS will also get installed. And then once the ADDS role is done, then you have to install, you have to promote the domain controller. Promote the domain controller. Okay. So these are all the steps and the prerequisites that you have to do before you get into the domain controller promotion. Okay. Let me take you to the lab now. Let me go to my VMware estate. Okay. If you see here, I am in the 2K16 operating system. This is my Windows Server 2016 data center operating system. And if I go to the command prompt here, let me check all the things whatever I have added, it is there or not. See, I already have an operating system Windows version. If I see, if you type a command called winver, it will show you the Windows version. See, it's my server 2016. Okay, fine. So now let me check the IP address, IP config. You have a command called IP config. If you enter that command, it will show you what is your IP address. See, 192.168.230.194 is my IP address. This is my subnet mask and this is my gateway, right? So let me go to ncpa.cpl and verify whether it is static or dynamic. Double click on Ethernet 0, go to properties, go to TCP Internet Protocol version 4. And you see here, this is not the static IP address. So for the server and especially for the domain controller, not only for the domain controller guys, if you are dealing with the server, 100% that server should have a static IP, not the dynamic IP. What is the difference between static IP and the dynamic IP? When you give the dynamic IP, the IP address will keep on changing. Every once in 8 days, your IP address will be keep on changing. But if the IP addresses keep on changing, the applications which are looking for that previous IP address, if the IP address gets changed, it won't connect to the domain controller. So then the operations will break. So that's why always 100% of the time you should always use the IP address statically. But in case of Azure and cloud and all, the IP address will be given automatically by the cloud. But there is an option to make it standard. You have to check one box is there, make the IP address static, so that the same IP address will be retained lifetime of the computer. Okay, it never changes in its lifetime. It is a static. There is no change in the IP address. Okay, so now what I will do, the same IP address I will add it here. See 192.168.230.194 is there. Let me make it 100. So easy to remember. So I'm making it as 100. Okay. Gateway 192.168.230.2, and DNS address also I'm going to add the same 192.168.230.100, because this computer is now acting as a domain controller along with the DNS, because DNS and Active Directory both are integrated, and without the DNS AD will not work. So let me make it static. So that is done now. So now we have made the IP address static. Okay, and we have made the IP address static and checked all the IP and the parameters, and also check the DNS also. So if you look at all the major things done, a name also I need to check, right? Let me show you the name also. Name also I have put, what I have put actually, if you put host name, it is like 2k16. Let me rename this also. Now what I will do, sysdm.cpl is there. So what I'll do, I'll go to the change option here and I'll put dc01, so that the naming convention, I already told you, right? The naming convention will reveal most of the information of the server. So since I'm renaming it as a dc01, I can easily understand this is my domain controller 1. Okay, so click on OK, and you see it is in work group, but after the DC promotion, it is still in work group, right? After the DC promotion, the domain control promotion, it will be automatically changed. Now let me restart my computer or the server operating system. My computer got restarted now. My server 2016 got restarted now. Let me log into that server. I'm using my password. I logged in now. Okay. Now I will show you the change in the name also. If you go to host name, see, it is DC01. So I am done with all my prerequisites. Okay. So let me close this command prompt. In every server operating system, you have this console called server manager. This console is there, right? This is called as server manager. So when you just log into the server, it automatically comes because it is put in the startup. Okay. If you go to this Windows style, you can go to server manager also. So this is what the primary console, where you can install, where you can administer, or where you can remove all the required rules and features in the entire server operating system. Okay, when you open this, you see multiple options here. Okay, configure this local server, add roles and feature, add other server to manage, create a server group, or connect this server to cloud services. So it has got multiple options are there. But in our case, I would like to add a role called Active Directory Domain Services role. So that I have to click on the first option, means the second option here, which is add roles and features. Click on it. So as soon as you click on the add roles and features, right? So you get this wizard and you just follow, click on next, and here it is giving you two options. One is role based or feature based installation. The second one, remote desktop service installation. So you need to go with the first option because I need to install the role or feature, but in my case I am going to install the role. What is second one? This is second one is the remote desktop service installation. Means when you want to take the computer remote, say for example this DC01 is there now. By default, at a time, two people can log into this computer via remotely. So one person is logged in from Hyderabad, another person is logged in from Bangalore. One more person is trying to log in from Delhi. If that is the case, it will tell you already maximum sessions are connected to this computer. Okay. Then they will ask, the Delhi person will ask, anybody from Bangalore and Hyderabad, would you like to drop off? Can you please allow me in? And they will tell, no, no, I am already doing some work, I am middle of the something, I cannot give my session. So if you want to increase more than two sessions, two concurrent sessions, say for example if you want to increase number of sessions, remote desktop sessions, you have to install this remote desktop service installation and you have to specify the license information, because that is by a cal based license, means per user base or per pack base licensing will be there. So then that computer will allow you to do multiple sessions at a time. Even if you have 1000 licenses, 1000 people can connect at a time without disturbing others. That is the remote desktop service installation, and I don't teach about this, but you should know it. That's why I just gave the intro here, a little background about it here. So now let us move on with our agenda, which is role based or feature based installation. Okay, so let me click on that first option, and you see here whatever the information we have provided. My computer is DC01, my IP address is 192.168.230.100, and operating system is server 2016, data center evaluation. So I am good here. So let me click on next. Now you see two options here. See, server here, roles are here, features are here. So in my case, I would like to install the role. Correct now? Because if you see here in the roles only, you have Active Directory related stuffs are there. You have multiple services with, I mean, starting with Active Directory. Okay, you see Active Directory certificate service is there. If you want to create a certificate server, CA server, okay. The Active Directory domain services are there if you want to create the domain environment. Active Directory federation services are there if you want to start any kind of federations, like you are using facebook.com but you would like to also give federation for some Instagram users. So that time, to enable the single sign and all these things, the federation services will be useful. And Active Directory lightweight directory services, LDAP services, okay, to integrate or to bind with multiple other services, you can use that. And rights management, okay, all these things are there, okay. But in our case, we need to install the Active Directory domain services, which is ADDS, the second option, okay. Click on this second, check this second option, and it will tell you add feature. Yes, I would like to add feature. And see here, DNS I have not selected. I am only selected the Active Directory. But when I install the Active Directory domain services, AD will install DNS automatically. I will show you that. Okay. Before I do that, let me go to tools here and see, you don't see anything called, you don't see Active Directory related components here, you don't see DNS also, and you don't see group policy also here. See, nothing is there. You don't see group policy, you don't see Active Directory services, you are not even seeing the DNS. So now once you click on next to install ADDS, see .NET, I told you it is installing .NET also. And see, group policy automatically selected, group policy automatically selected. I am not doing anything. I am just click on next, 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 and I will click on install. When you click on installation, it will take like 30 seconds or something, okay, and it will install the role. And it will just see there is a notification came here. Okay, so you have to click on that notification, and that will help you to or facilitate you to promote the domain controller. Okay, so let us wait for this installation complete. Yeah, now see the installation is completed. It says configuration required, installation succeeded on DC01. So then it will give you two options. One is here, promote this server to a domain controller. You can click on this and you can go to the next wizard, or you can close this, and if you click on this notification symbol here, you see here promote this server to a domain controller option is there. Click on that, promote this server to the domain controller option, and now you see it is giving you three options. This is very important. First option is add a domain controller to an existing domain. Can somebody tell me what is this meaning? Anybody can tell? Okay. See, it is telling you add a domain controller to an existing domain. Means you already have a domain like facebook.com or instagram.com or microsoft.com, and you are going to add one more domain controller to that. That is called as additional domain controller. Very first option. But in our case, do we already have a domain or we are in work group? What is our
Work
condition?
groups.
Yeah, we are in work
Work
group.
group.
That means we don't have any existing domain. So first option is invalid for us. Correct, right? And the second option, add a new domain to an existing forest. Means you already have a forest like tata.com or reliance.com. Would you like to add another domain to an existing forest like motors.tata.com, softwares.tata.com? Is that the same case with us? Is this the same case, guys? Will second option applicable for us? No, because even we don't have any forest with us, right? Then the last option is there, third option, add a new forest. Yes, that is applicable for us because we are going to create first time from work group to domain. So that hence we have to create a new forest for the first time, right? So click on the third option and you can add whatever domain you wanted. So let me give google.com. Okay, most of the people will have the dream to work in Google, right? Let me put it as google.com. You have to put .com, .in, .org, both prefix and suffix. So when you don't have the suffix, it will not be a domain. Okay, so now it is giving you some options to set some password. Set the password here. This is your DSRM password, means it is directory service restore mode password. So if you want to restore anything, something from the deleted objects, you have to go to this mode, restore mode, and to get into that mode, it will ask you to enter some password, and that is the password we have set there. And you see here, if you want to delegate the DNS, means if you don't want this server to work as a DNS, if you want to specify some specific service to our server to work as a DNS, then you can delegate it. In my case, I don't want to do any kind of delegation. I want the server to act as a DNS, so hence I am not selecting anything. So by default, go next, and it is see, it is now giving the NetBIOS name. See, computer will have two types of names, guys. One is NetBIOS name and fully qualified domain name. So when you write like dc01.google.com, that is the fully qualified domain name. If you simply type dc01, that is called as NetBIOS name. So NetBIOS name means it will only have the prefix, no suffix. If you take google.com, google.com is FQDN, fully qualified domain name, because it has got both prefix and suffix. If you only write Google, then it is the NetBIOS name. Okay, in my case This is the net bias name as of now. Okay, so let me click on next. Ah. Now you see it has taken me to the next level. If you remember, we were talked about the database also in our yesterday's class, AD database. I told you it is there in C Windows NTDS. Under that a file called ntds.dit, new technology directory service dot directory information tree. That is your database file. And you see sysvol, system shared volume. I told you all the group policy templates and shareable things will be kept in the sysvol folder. So same thing, you can even change, but you should never change. Let us have the default paths. Okay, so say next, and it is giving me all the information. Now what is the configuration that we have done, what is your domain name, what is your net bias name, what operating system, what is forest functional level, global catalog, DNS, all those things it is there. Okay, click on next. Now it will verify the prerequisites, means it will check the IP address is static or not, whether the name is properly or not, DNS is added or not, all the prerequisites which I told you earlier it will check. If anything is not meeting, it will just throw an error, the prerequisites are not met. But in our case, I have already ensured everything is in place. That is why it is giving all the prerequisite checks passed successfully. Click to install to begin installation. So before that, let me take you here, sysdm.cpl, and you see the server is still is in work group, right? So it is still is in work group. Now after the installation, I'll click on install now. It will take less than a minute. In less than a minute, it will just convert my work group into domain, and it will get restarted. And you see the progress here, it is starting now. And you read, you please see waiting for the DNS installation to finish. Means first and foremost thing, the domain controller promotion, what it has done, it started installing the DNS, because DNS is the breathing of the Active Directory. I am telling you, if DNS is not there, your AD will not work at all. See, group policy management console needs to be installed. It is installed in the group policy management console. See, creating the partitions, Active Directory configuration partition. See, CN is equal to configuration. Then it will create other partitions also. Carefully read this line, particular line. See, it is 469 objects remaining. It's creating the objects. Objects means computer or users. Okay, and see, it is creating now configuration partition. It will take less than a minute of time. It won't take much time. Securing the machines, DNS server instance it is configuring. Not only installing the DNS, it is also configuring the DNS servers. I'll show you the console once the installation is done. I will show you all the other consoles which got added up in the tools. Okay, see here, the installation is done, the promotion is done now. This server was successfully configured as a domain controller, and it is asking to close the sign out. Okay, and it automatically, the restart will happen. See, it is initiating the restart now. It will take some time, like 2-3 minutes of time to restart, because now I have added the domain controller role and promoted the domain controller, right? So there are a lot of registry changes, plugins and libraries got added up to this server. Okay, it should ensure everything is intact, and it should bind with all the other services. Okay, that's why it will take some time. Let this get come up. Yeah, now the machine back online. Let me log into my computer. Now it is not a computer, we can call it as a domain controller. Now you see the look and feel. Earlier it was only giving administrator, but now if you see, it is giving me like Google/administrator. See what happens, when you promote a domain controller, all the local users will be removed off or they will be promoted to the domain users. So you will not get that option, local user manager option itself will not work. I'll show you now. See here, if I log in here, yeah, I have logged into my computer, right? Let me show you quickly lusrmgr.msc. That console itself will be, see, the computer DC01 is a domain controller. This snap-in cannot be used on a domain controller. Domain accounts are managed with the Active Directory users and computer snap-in. Means this snap-in itself is not usable because everything will be controlled using Active Directory users and computers snap-in. Okay, so I will show you before that. Let me also show you the sysdm.cpl. Sysdm.cpl. If I go to computer name options, and you see here, your computer name is dc01.google.com. This is your fully qualified domain name, and you see it was earlier work group. Now it has become domain, and the domain name is google.com. Okay, so that means our domain controller promotion is done. Now let me go to the tools option. So tools is the place where you see all the installed applications and the services. Now if you see, there are many things starting with Active Directory. See, Active Directory Administrative Center is there, domains and trusts are there, modules are there, sites and services are there, users and computers are there, DNS is there, and see, group policy management is also there. But 95% of the time, we will spend our day-to-day things either in Active Directory users and computers or in group policy management, and little bit time we will just do on the sites and services. Okay, see, this administrator center is there, right? This is for you to administrate. Say for example, if you want to pull out all the available users department wise or manager wise, you can go to administrative center. This domains and trust is there. If you want to create the domains or the trust between two different domains and the forest, okay, if you want to create basically the trust and all, you have to go to domains and trust. And if you want to do PowerShell operations using scripting and all, you can go here. Okay, sites and services. If you want to create multiple sites, like Bangalore is a site, Hyderabad is a site, Delhi is a site, Mumbai is a site. Okay, that time you can go to sites and services. But with respect to the user and computer operations, this is the wizard you have to always be in, which is Active Directory users and computers. Okay, as soon as I click on that users and computer, you can see the domain options here, which is my google.com. Okay, and remaining all are the by default OUs and containers will be there. So once you create this one, right, it will facilitate you to create the multiple hierarchy. Say for example, Google, let me create an new organizational unit. Okay, what Google is there in India? You can create India as a OU. See, under Google now you have India. Under India, you can right click and go to new and organization unit, create. Now, India, multiple offices are there. In Bangalore, we have Google Office. Okay, not only Bangalore, under India, we have Delhi Google Office. Okay, and not only Delhi, we have in Mumbai also. Okay, so now under Bangalore, what are all the departments are there? Right click, new OU, organizational unit, and you can tell here we have IT department. Okay, in Bangalore we also have R&D departments, R and D, R and D. Okay, it's okay, R and D. So we have sales. We have admins also. Admin, all the admin operations. See, like this, it will facilitate you create the hierarchy. Okay. So IT, under IT will create like developers. So under that you have infra like cloud. Under that you may have others also, maybe testing or something. See, like this the hierarchy you can create, and Active Directory will facilitate you create the hierarchy. So what is the use of this creating the hierarchy? Say for example, if you want to control the entire IT users, you can go to group policy here, tools, go to group policy management here. The same OU structure you can see in the group policy also. Expand it, go to domains, go to google.com and go to India, and you see the same folder structure here. See, under Bangalore you have admins, all those things, and I said IT, right? So click on IT here, and you can create a group. See, create a GPO in this domain and link it here. IT GPO, link it here. See, now I have created a group policy. See here, the group policy IT GPO linked to the domain level. Okay. So if you want to make some changes and control, and that setting should be applicable only for the IT departments, just right click on this, edit. Say for example, if you want to apply desktop wallpaper, go to policies, administrative templates, desktop, and here see desktop wallpaper, and you can just enable wallpaper and mention the path here, /c colon pic 1.jpg. If you apply like this, this picture will go and sit in all the desktop of the IT departments. You don't need to log into each and every computer, guys. See how long it took. It took only 30 to 40 seconds. It takes only 30 to 40 seconds, and now you have controlled all the IT users, be it is a cloud or a dev or testing. Everybody belongs to IT, right? If it is 10,000 or 1 lakh users also, no problem. Within 30-40 seconds you are done with the testing. So this is what the help or the benefit or the advantages of Active Directory. Okay. So tomorrow I am going to explain all the day-to-day related stuffs and that we do. Okay. Now we'll also show you the DNS. See DNS. So DNS, this is the DNS console, and it has got multiple zones, forward lookup zones, reverse lookup zones, and google.com is there here. You see google.com, and you see here DC01 dot, there is a record called DC01, and it is associated with the IP address. Why the DNS is helpful, I'll show you here. Now if I want to connect NS lookup, I want to know the DC01 IP address. If you hit enter, it will come to this DNS console. Go to google.com and check, is there any person called DC01? Yes, DC01 is here. What is the IP address? 192.168.230.100. It will search and it will give back. Now imagine I am searching DC02 NS lookup. What it is telling? Unknown, can't find the DC02, it is a non-existent domain. Now what I will do, I will quickly create a record here. Right click, create a new host A record. You can give DC02 and IP address 192.168.230.101. Okay, add host. Now I have created the record, right? Now if I run the same command again, ns lookup DC02, see it is now coming to this console google.com and checking for the DC02 entry. Yes, there is a DC02 entry and the IP address is 192.168.230.101. See, 192.168.230.101. So this is how this DNS will work. So if you want to do the reverse lookup, then it will come here. So means now I know the IP address. Say for example 192.ns lookup, ns lookup 192.168.230.101. It says non-existent domain because in the reverse lookup, if you see, there is no zones created. So in order to work, right click, create a new zone. Next, where you want a primary, secondary, sub zone, I want a primary zone. Okay. Rest everything is next, 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 and you add what zone you wanted to add. 192.168.100. Sorry, 230 dot. Only 3 digit it will take. And if you see here, I am typing 192.168.230, but if here in the down below you can see it is coming Volta 230.168.190 because it is reverse lookup. So next, next, finish. Now you see there is a new zone got created for this one, and there is no entry. Now what I will do, I will go to this Google, right click on this DC02 properties. I'll update the associated pointer record. Reverse lookup will be called as pointer record. Okay. Update this one. Apply. Okay. Right click here. Go to properties. This is associated already. Pointer record done. Yes. Now if you go here and refresh, those two records will be populated here. See here. Now their name comes first here. Here names comes first. It will look for the name and try to see for the IP address. But in the reverse lookup, it will look for the IP address and then find out the computer name. Now if you go here, if I use the same command like ns lookup 192.168.230.101, you see it is dc2.google.com. It is pulling the information from here. Similarly, if you put 100, it will tell you it is dc01.google.com. Fine. So this is how the DNS work. Anyway, we have a separate class for the DNS. I'll explain all the zones, many other stuff actually after the Active Directory completion. So I think this is just a quick view towards the features of Active Directory. So tomorrow I am going to talk about the day-to-day related operations with respect to the Active Directory. Okay. So I think let us stop for the day today. So tomorrow we can connect. Thank you all guys.